We're going to talk a little bit about breathing with your horn. I'm sure you've all been told that your breathing should be improved, and most people are correct about that. We're going to talk about a couple of concepts that I think can be helpful. So the first one is, as you're playing your horn, what you're doing is exhaling out your breath. And for just a moment, I want you to consider whether your exhale is more of a muscle relaxation or a muscle contraction. Which one of those is it primarily? So I want you to think about exhaling as more of a relaxation, and more of the work happens as you inhale. So as you inhale, your diaphragm, which is a dome-shaped muscle, below your ribs, it flattens out and allows air to come into your lungs by creating a pressure difference between the outside and the inside of your body. So you're not sucking in air like you're sucking on a straw. Just that motion changes the shape and allows air to flow in. There are 3 different places where movement happens when you're taking an inhale. The first one people will call diaphragmatic breathing. So that's the diaphragm flattening out. It feels pretty low in your lungs. In order to do that, it's kind of moving all of your internal organs down and out. So your stomach should be kind of coming out as you inhale from the diaphragm. So try that just a little bit, feeling that movement in your belly as you inhale and breathe low. The next place you can breathe from is from your chest or from your rib cage. So as you do that, your ribs are going to expand out and slightly up as you inhale. And then as you exhale, they come back down. So it's as if you have a little bit of a kind of a bird flattening motion. So try some chest inhalations. In order to do that, it's helpful to have a little bit of space between your arm and your chest. If you have your arms all the way down to your sides, it's really impossible to let that motion happen. So try a couple of chest breaths. Really feeling that chest movement. The third place you can breathe from is from your shoulders. Your lungs actually come all the way up to your collarbone, so quite high in your chest. This is kind of what it feels like to breathe anxiously. So if you always are breathing from your shoulders all the time, you're definitely not getting a full inhalation. And it is often a very shallow and quick breath and kind of an unpleasant breath. But let's try those just to experience that. So as you breathe in, you're going to raise your shoulders just a little bit. Feel how shallow that is. So when we're playing horn, often we really need to maximize the amount of air we have in our lungs so that as we relax and release the air, we have a big reserve in order to play the instrument. So most of the time when I'm breathing, I'm actually breathing from all 3 of those places, basically starting low and then coming up and filling up just at the top if I need a full deep breath. So let's try a few complete breaths, breathing from the diaphragm, ribs, and a little bit from your shoulders. Let your elbows come down and out so you have a little bit of space between your arm and your ribs in order to breathe. Let's take a couple more breaths. And now we're going to apply that to the horn. Before we do that, one more concept for you to think about. I want you to notice the 4 parts of your breath. You have your inhalation. There's just a little bit of pause at the top, and then your exhalation. And then there's a slight pause at the bottom before you inhale again. So there's inhale, pause, exhale, pause. When you do that pause, you should avoid tightening up, but there should be just a little bit of time between your inhale and before you would start playing. During that time, I set my embouchure so that I'm ready to play the note that I'm trying to play. So I think of that as breathe, set, play. And you want to make sure you do it in that order. If you're trying to set your embouchure as you're starting the air, you've got a pretty high likelihood of not hitting the correct note because you're really not set up with your embouchure well in order to do that. So a couple things before we try a few notes on the horn. First, you want to make sure you've got your torso set really well so you're balanced over your sitting bones. Your head is balanced. You're not forward, you're not back. And then you're allowing your elbows to come down and out. Bring your horn up to your face rather than your face down to your horn. We're going to breathe through those 3 different places, diaphragm, chest, and shoulders. And then we're going to play just a nice G. So breathe, set, play, getting all 3 places as you inhale. So take some time just to think about the different parts of your breath and the different ways you're breathing. Maybe you'll find something that you could improve on a little bit. I also like to keep in mind that you've been breathing all of your life. You're really good at breathing. So it should be a pretty natural thing. You shouldn't have to feel like you need to go and do a bunch of breathing exercises and weird different ways of breathing in order to play the horn effectively and use your breath well. It's really just a full inhalation and then a controlled exhalation where you're really relaxing as you do it. Always set your posture first. Bring your horn to your face. Inhale deeply. Breathe, set, play. So take some of those concepts and see if you can apply that to your everyday playing experience on the